Well, last month, the Piedmont Planning Commission rejected a proposed commercial wind turbine ordinance that pretty much brought a halt to the construction of wind turbines inside the city limits of Piedmont. Mayor Valerie Thomerson was one of many to speak out against the wind turbines in the city, and as that debate now reaches the county level, one of the commissioners and the mayor is continuing to speak out against the proposal of a wind farm that will be located between Piedmont and Okarche. At Monday's county commissioners meeting, dozens of members of the public spoke on both sides of the wind farm debate. That included Piedmont Planning Commissioner Berger and Mayor Thomerson, both of which said that they felt that wind turbines were not a good deal, not only for Piedmont, but for Canadian County. Now, the following video shows both the mayor's and commissioner's comments in their entirety.
Thank you, gentlemen. First of all, I want to thank you for serving your communities as an elected official. I can promise you, I know that's not easy.
You can, can't you?
I can. I would like to say that standing in front of you, I represent 6,500 people in Piedmont. Our Planning Commission has recently indicated that they're not even going to put commercial wind farms for consideration to our council. And it was a difficult decision for them to make, just as this is going to be a difficult decision for you to make. I'm not going to tell you everybody in Piedmont is against the wind farms. There are some people who do want them. And I respect that fact, just as I respect the lady's impassioned plea for having them. I respect your opinion. I also respect the fact that far more people are going to be affected by these kinds of developments. Planning and zoning is one way for this to happen and for you all to take some level of accountability and hold industries accountable to a level of quality that happens within development within this county. And although with all due respect, this is not about wind farms. This is about planning and zoning within the county. And wind farms is only one aspect of what we're talking about. But I have a great deal of passion for planning and zoning. Not only have I been a planning commissioner, I have lived and worked in Houston where they don't have planning and zoning. It's all done by subdivision regulations. Every bit of it. In Houston, it's a hodgepodge. I don't want us to look like Houston. I think we need planning and zoning. So gentlemen, for what it's worth, thank you again for your service to the community. What you do is extremely difficult, Ms. Dickerson, to you as well, because I know you're an elected official. But please, please give this planning and zoning due consideration. And as the gentleman said, take this to the people and let us vote. Thank you.
I was one of the commissioners that determined that a windmill farm of an industrial nature was not an appropriate fit for the city of Piedmont. I want to share with you the reasons that we came to that conclusion. They did not include the aesthetics. I happen to think windmills look nice. I like the looks of windmills. I enjoy driving through Weatherford and seeing their windmill farm. I happen to think we need wind energy as much as we can possibly develop it in this country to reduce our dependence on foreign oil, for one thing, on all fossil fuels for another. But that's another issue. I don't want to get into an argument that's politically based. We didn't have any political aspect to the decision the Piedmont Planning Commission made. We made our decision based on dollars and cents and jobs. The aesthetics was not an issue. The health issues that have been raised were never considered because we didn't get that far. We didn't have to get that far. There were more important economic issues facing us, and there were some other issues facing us as well. For instance, a company that had been planning for years and was approaching people within our township and in the surrounding unincorporated county, writing contracts with them, knowing that they planned to do this. And yet they come to us 3 or 4 months ago and say, oh, we need a windmill ordinance so we can build our windmill, and you better hurry up because we don't want to jeopardize our financing. Hurry, it's important. Well, if it was so important, why did Apex not come to us 2 or 3 years ago when they started their planning process? These folks say, well, you can trust us, you can believe us, we know what we're doing. They built a tower to test the wind in our township in violation of city ordinances and claimed after the fact, well, they didn't know it was in our city limits. They can't read a map and see where the city limits are? Do you believe that? Do you believe an engineer couldn't see where the city limits were? I don't believe it. So now I'm left with, I can't trust this company. They're not trustworthy. They're telling some of you folks their windmills shut off at 20 miles an hour. Do you believe what you're told? Or do you believe your own eyes? Go on YouTube. Take a look at the ice throw. You all know about the tornado that came through because it didn't just come through Piedmont. It started at Calumet, crossed the whole county. You know what a 300-mile-an-hour wind could do to a snapped off 100-foot blade? How far is that going to go? And what's going to happen to the house or 2 houses that it slices into? You know what they proposed as liability insurance for this whole project? I believe it was $1 million per incident, $2 million aggregate. Just as a homeowner, I have $1.5 million liability insurance on my house in case somebody falls down and trips in the driveway. And they only want to buy $1 million per incident for this entire project? Is this a company that we really want to have a lot of faith in? Well, that's not even important, because the issues that we decided on had nothing to do with any of this, although the dependability, reliability of this company, that was an issue for us. We had Thomas Jefferson cited. It might surprise you to know that Thomas Jefferson noted that all authority over all land in any country belongs entirely with the government. And it's only by the largesse of that government that the citizens of any country have any right to the land. So he wanted to make sure that we constructed a government that gave people as many rights as possible. But he recognized, as any student of history will recognize, government controls the land. They have the power to decide. Now these gentlemen right now don't have a lot of authority. You're right. We are asking them to take on more. We're suggesting we give them a little bit more, but only for one reason: to protect us all. The reason we have government is to protect us from one another. It's not that we have ever been threatened so much by the Russians. We've spent a lot of money to protect ourselves from it, but it's really your next door neighbor that is more likely to give you a problem than the Russians ever were. And that's why we have rules, ordinances, and laws to protect us, so that if our neighbor does something that interferes with our property, that diminishes the value of our property, that we can say, whoa, that's unfair taking. And the people who are promising to do an unfair taking here are not those who are suggesting that our county commission take up one of the tools that is available to it to protect us. It's the people who are coming in here from out of state to make money, who will permanently interfere with our ability to do in Canadian County what we want. Because I tell you, in planning circles, we talk about highest and best use of properties. And the highest best use of a property between Okarche and Piedmont over the next 25 years is residential and commercial development. It will make all of our property worth more money. It'll make all of our lives better because we won't have to drive quite as far. And most importantly, for those of us who would like to have nice roads, the only...
I'm giving him my talk time.
We're going to have to cut this whole thing off pretty quick.
The only source of income for our roads comes... Hey! You didn't do that to the guy from the company that went on for 15 minutes. All right?
Everyone.
I'm a city official, and I'm trying to share with you why our city made the decision. And the reason why is dollars and cents. Every one of those towers is going to take up the space that 6 or 7 or 8 houses could later be built in. And when those houses are built, the people who live in those are going to generate jobs by spending money in the stores that will later be built. It will never come anywhere close to the number of jobs if we allow these to be built.